there was a couple of things to build on Christina's question about the gardens. Would there be any opportunity for the students to be planting or doing any continued gardening there?
There's certainly a lot of opportunities. I think that it just has to be developed with the interested faculty members and just be sort of, it's another layer in the design process that we might not actually be part of. The landscape architect will give them the space, but they will basically materialize it, create the program for it. So I think there's a lot of room there.
Is it a green roof or just part of the drawing?
It is a green roof.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, great.
In the center, yeah.
So,
Not accessible.
We were told
Not accessible.
No, it's not accessible to the public. It's a sedum type of a roof.
Oh,
To
okay.
anyone.
Oh,
It's not
I see.
access.
You just see it and it helps with your
Water.
Yeah, it helps water
retention
yeah,
and heat
right.
cooling. Got it.
So then the second question, and I hate to be a test about this, but we had actually asked for an extra tennis court or two, and I'm wondering, it seems like you have such large amount of space there, at least until the second build takes place. Would it be possible to have a tennis court?
You know,
I think part of the problem is how you operationalize the tennis court and who oversees, who gets it, how long, things like
Oh,
that.
that's not an issue.
And,
We'll deal with that.
part of what we heard from a community-wide issue was the need for free play. This is how we program that.
I mean, we're not planning to put any structures out in the interim space. You know, we'd like to create this natural landscape. It's sloped. We're trying to create the meadow. We want to have these research opportunities. You know, that's been our approach to the project. Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Matt,
Who,
I think
oh,
Matt.
okay.
Yeah, when choosing the foliage for the open spaces, I remember that when Four Freedoms Park was involved with that, they were very concerned about the impact of salt water from the East River estuary, and I hope you'll keep that in mind.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we're looking at all native and things that would do well in this environment with salt spray. We're a little bit protected because we have the trees at the Esplanade, and at least on the west side, there's a bit of a protection there, but at the same time, it's not something that we're considering. So, yeah, we still make sure it's the right species.
Yes.
Just a quick question about the slope. You mentioned that there's, a fairly sizable slope. Enough for kids to ride their sleds?
Winter sports, you guys are good at that.
We'll ride the wave of enthusiasm after the Winter Olympics. You know,
Why
I don't
not?
know.
Of course.
I mean,
Don't ask.
Parents
Little
should be
boys
free.
like
Yeah,
We lost
Don't ask
our-
permission.
There's a certain amount we lost our sled. How you lay it out.
oh no.
If you could kind of keep in mind that our kids are losing their
Sledding
sledding
hill.
slope from the Riverwalk build, that having something there that they could.
That's okay.
Karen is a big fan of sledding. I can say that personally. She has a big plan for Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where there will be a big sled hill. Karen, our landscape architect.
Yeah, we're doing another project.
Nice,
With
But
actually.
our kids can't swim to Greenpoint.
That's right.
But maybe someday we could ferry there, we're hoping.
Oh, yeah.
That's the spirit.
As you beautifully illustrated, we have those wonderful cherry trees on the western side. And the initial dream of Roosevelt Island was to surround the island in a necklace of cherry trees. And REOC, up until very recently, had continued to purchase and plant cherry trees in the goal of trying to accomplish that. So I would respectfully like you to consider that on the eastern area where you're showing just trees, if we could or if you would consider helping to facilitate that dream that was once worked on very industriously of putting a full necklace of cherry trees around. I think it just adds to they're so beautiful, and we have been enjoying them to such a level on the western side that I would like to encourage that to be part of the consideration.
And we can tell you the species.
As part of that replacement of the ones that are being taken, if what's replaced could be cherry trees along there, that would be fantastic.
A beautiful idea.
So just to,
Thank you.
yeah, put it in consideration.
Okay, well, first of all, I looked at these buildings. Are we sure we're not building another wind tunnel when you have all of these buildings on the plaza? As you know, there's no wind on Roosevelt Island. You know, it gets sucked away. And I'm not an expert on wind, but I don't, you know, just looking at this and all your architects and engineers, you know, are we gonna have where you can't go into that plaza in the winter because?
We think the answer to that is no. We're going to be doing some wind testing, but we think based on what we've seen so far, we think we're pretty sure the answer is no.
I hope so. Now, another thing, you know, me and trees, I hug buildings, I hug trees. The trees that we've always cut down recently on the island because of the beetle infestation have had to be mulched. Do the trees have to be still have to be mulched that you remove?
Not to my knowledge. And
So
the
what is
quarantine, Roosevelt Island is no longer in the quarantine.
Okay, if we're no longer in the quarantine, who's gonna salvage all that 75-year-old wood? Please, I don't want it to go into a chipper. There must be some way to salvage the wood. You know? And also, is there a school of ornithology at Cornell?
No school.
Oh, shucks.
But we have a lab of ornithology.
Well, good, because I was looking at the Canada geese. They can't wait for your site. They're just, good, this is a perfect nesting ground. And I was down at South Point yesterday, there were at least 100 geese camping out, so, you know your first scholars are gonna lay golden eggs.
We've invited members of the faculty who participate in the lab of ornithology to visit the site, and they'll have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. See what they can do about Canada geese.
Yes.
But could you please check on the trees?
Yes.
Because, you know.
So Jane's going to spend a little bit of time talking about the town hall, and as sort of wanting to get the feedback from this group about some preliminary suggestions that we have about the structure and the format, and some people have given us